And welcome back for this final class in this team competition and the second qualifier for the individual freestyle final tomorrow. We start with the grade 4s at 1 o'clock in just a couple of minutes time. Another beautiful sunny day for this team competition to come to a close. The grade 5s went earlier today and several teams completing that final score. 13 teams coming forward here for this team competition. And we have already had an incredible morning of competition for that team competition. So all riders coming forward to ride this grade 4 class. 13 competitors in this individual grade 4 competition. Riders all competing in this Grand Prix B class, whether they're riding as individual or for the team competition to qualify through for that final. But the big competition at the moment is this team competition, and this next rider to go is going to be a very influential member for the Netherlands. Germany currently sitting out in front, Great Britain in silver and Italy in that bronze place, but the Netherlands, with just those 2 riders having completed and 2 riders left to go, both in this grade 4 class. And this rider won the silver medal 2 days ago in the individual on 75.916. Sorry, the gold medal, that was her teammate, the gold medal on 77.556. So entering the arena for the Netherlands, Demi Harkins riding the 15-year-old mare EHL Daula NOP. And a good start. So Demi taking that gold medal, 77.556. Sana, her teammate, in that silver medal place on 75.916. So both riding for this Team Netherlands and both coming forward in this grade 4 class. And Germany currently sitting in that top position on a score of 226.979. So the Netherlands have already had Frank today. He scored 76.447, so they need 150.532, so an average of 75.266 across these 2 grade 4 riders. For them to go into that top spot. This team, the same team that took home gold at that World Championship last year. Not quite square in that halt, and a little bit rushed in the rein back, but this horse showing some really super work through this trot section. That live score not coming up on screen yet for this rider, so just adding to that tense wait for everyone. But this horse really able to pick those marks up and really does have a lot of quality in her gaits. And this grade 4 test, just like the grade 5, showing that canter work as well, but we won't see the trot half pass or the canter half pass in this test, just that trot shoulder in and those changes of rein through trot, not through walk with the simple change. And she sat on just over 78%. That'd be a very handy score for the Netherlands. Sanne Weerts, the final rider to go later in this class. And that pirouette just a little bit on the large side, cat stepping, but just not quite getting that precision for those higher marks, but cleanly up into the canter, and she'll really be needing a clean test here. She should be good to qualify through for that individual final with a fairly good score based on her performance from that individual, but a high score would really take the pressure off Sanne and really push that team into that spot they're aiming for. So doing a very good job of that. Not throwing any marks away just yet. This horse just so powerful, so elegant. Has competed up to small tour, I think, with the previous rider. So is really able to show off the quality in this grade 4 test. That's that lovely uphill way of going. And beautifully through those changes of rein through the trot, really direct into that trot transition, and then she can really show off that trot on those few strides. Showing some really nice work so far. Just coming down with a clean transition to trot. And a good first hole, and I think they are going to be very pleased with that. What a super test in this team competition. That's the sort of score they needed. And they already had one score from their grade 3 rider who competed yesterday. But absolutely phenomenal. This horse, so much scope, so much ability. Demi doing a really super job. Her second championships, her first European championships. She's already taken the individual title. She would love, I'm sure, to add a second gold medal round her neck. And here's that score just coming through now. And there are some big, big scores coming through for that test. Waiting for those just to come up on that screen, but she may even have taken the Netherlands into the lead using that score from yesterday as well. Those scores just coming through now. Wow, 79.730. So straight to the top of that grade 4 leaderboard. Scores are up to 82.4 for this straight test, but what has that done? So 156.177. So that puts them into 6th place with just those 2 scores counting. But by my calculation, they have gone on to 227.944, which already puts them ahead of Germany in that gold medal position before Sanna even rides. So Demi may have just secured team gold for the Netherlands, with still their 4th rider left to compete. Absolutely incredible for the start of this grade 4. Still 12 riders to come forward in this grade 4 class. The second rider in this group, 7 riders to come forward, and we'll have a short break before that second group. Representing Norway, riding this 11-year-old mare, Honorups Liddell. We have Higa Storseth. Norway with 2 riders in this grade 4. And they'll be looking if they can finish at the top of the table behind those, or amongst those countries who have already qualified. They could secure their team spot for the Paralympics next year. This rider finished in 11th for that individual on 63.834. So we'll be looking to build on that test and score for today. Just seeing a slight wobble through that shoulder in. The horse just not quite giving that suppleness and keeping that balance consistent for those high marks. And unfortunately not quite square in that halt before the rein back. Such a clean way to pick marks up if you can get a really good square halt, but so difficult to get everything in place in order to do that. Just want to see a little bit more suppleness with this horse, just to get that more consistent picture and that slightly softer picture, and better on that short side there. And she really does have the ability to show some really nice work when you get that bit more softness and bit more softness. So riding that a little bit larger, but getting some nice positioning through that pirouette. Just got to keep the activity in the sitting through it. Some nice stretch here. The walk improving in the quality with that half circle. You could just allow a little bit more. There wasn't a huge difference between that collected walk to that free walk. So could have seen a bit more stretch, and again a little bit large with that walk pirouette. Just want to see a bit more turning, a bit more sitting, and make that those hind legs turn on a smaller circle. But keeping the steps really expensive when they stick, so Sometimes you have to ride that little bit bigger just to keep the quality of the steps. A stick is very expensive. And better through into this canter. The horse really using her body a little bit better. Again, just want to see that little bit more throughness, a little bit more suppleness over the back. A bit more acceptance for those higher marks. See that little bit more sitting. Get that croup down a little bit, and that front end can come up and show that off with the expression. But keeping nice rhythm through these loops. Some horses wanting to anticipate a change or losing their balance as they hit that centre line. So really wanting to see no disturb. Oh, that was unfortunate. And very brief through that trot transition, not quite establishing the trot. I think the horse anticipating that a little bit. Want to really show those clear trot strides are established. You can see here the horse just getting a little bit onward. She has a lot of power and a lot of movement and just gets a little bit long and on that forehand rather than that sitting that you see from some of the other more established horses for those higher marks. But a really super attitude and a big improvement from her individual test a couple of days ago, so she'll be really pleased with that, I think. This horse has a super attitude, very willing. And there's definitely a lot more to come from them. So that'll be really exciting to see for the future. A lot of horses over the last few days coming forward, and younger horses being exposed to this championship environment, and such a valuable experience for them. And those scores should just come through in a moment, but that definitely looked like an improvement from her individual. It might not be enough to take her through into that freestyle final, but we'll have to see what the other competitors do to follow up their individual scores as well. So 67%, so goes into second at this point in the class, a big improvement on her score in the individual. So really moving her up that ranking board. So a score for Norway, 140.009. So that goes into 12th place at the moment, but obviously some teams with their full set of scores and not counting that third score in brackets, that currently down as the drop score. And this next rider, third rider in this first group of 7. Riding as an individual. And this rider from Slovakia on this 13-year-old gelding FG Alter Ego. And they finished in 10th place in the individual, 64.694, so very close between 9th and 12th, just outside those qualifying spots. representing Slovakia. This next rider entering the arena on this 13-year-old gelding is Lucia Krivosudska. Doing a good job of just waiting for that horse to settle, so she had that immobility. The judge is looking for 3 seconds of immobility in that first halt. Showing some nice rhythm in the trot. And that circle to extend a trot movement, really testing the horse's responsiveness on that short diagonal. You have to go in it quite quickly from that marker, set them up following the circle, get them in balance, and then they need to be ready to take you so you can really show that off on that short diagonal. Just a little bit on the forehand going into that halt, but very square. Again, really keeping that immobility. Just a bit on the forehand as they do the rein back, so you get that little bit of dragging. You really want the horse to stay up and in self-carriage and in a nice balance through that movement, showing those clear diagonal steps. Again, doing well to make sure they're straight before asking for that medium. Just a little loss of balance going into that shoulder in. Just, you could see her just asking for that bend, and the horse not quite showing that suppleness to be able to do that, so then losing that balance, and she had to make a quick adjustment to get back on that line. And the horse just snatching the rein a little bit. You really want them to follow the rein. Yeah, better second steps. Follow the rein and just take that out and down a little bit in a smooth way, not snatching the rein from the rider. But that second half of the circle showing some nice steps. Just pushing out a bit on that pirouette, but keeping stepping, keeping the activity. Really nicely forward into this canter. Just losing those quarters through that circle, really wanting to think of that left shoulder just sitting on the track a bit and not quite gaining the control and the positioning. Again, a little brief through that change through trot, but getting that trot transition. You just want to see a little bit more sitting through all the work with this horse, just for those higher marks. But riding a really nice, clean test. Those loops really testing the horse's balance in that start of the counter canter. And we haven't seen any yet, but for those blind riders who compete in this grade 4, it's very difficult for them to find where they are in the arena when you have to ride those loops, and they don't have the track to support the horse. Just a little bit unsettled through that change, but a lot clearer in those trot steps. did a good job of waiting to establish that. And again, just on this right rein, getting that horse putting his quarters in a little bit, so not always getting that straightness on the lines that we want to see for that control and those higher marks. But a nice finish and another clean test for them. Big pats, big cheers for this rider, riding as an individual. And this horse really trying in the arena and really staying with his rider. Still a few areas to work on where they can build on those marks, but that's even more exciting for them as a combination. And she did a very good job of just managing those tiny moments so that they don't create an issue. So a really good job for this rider and for Slovakia. And she might sit just outside that qualification group. Here's her score, 64.757, so into third at the moment. And she might sit just outside that qualification group, but so good that she's had that second chance in the arena with this horse, even though she's not part of a team here and riding it as an individual. The stands getting a little bit busier as this competition plays out. The Dressage Grand Prix Special also happening in the arena nearby, so I'm sure we'll hear the crowd getting a little bit animated through the second group as they come to the end of their competition too. So nice for Germany to have had such a good European Championships in front of this home crowd. Really coming through strong individually and as a team. Very consistent performances from them so far. And next into the arena, another rider back competing in this team event. Poland with just 3 riders here competing, 2 riders in this final grade 4 class. So all scores counting for them. And riding this 19-year-old mare, Femme de Macho, entering the arena for Poland, Dominik Ast. And Dominik was 12th in the individual, scored 63.389%. It's very close from 12th to that 9th place, just 1% between them. And off to a good start in this grade 4. That first centre line being so influential, just giving the judges that first impression. Oh, that was unfortunate. Again, a little bit the same we've seen with the previous rider, just not able to get that suppleness through the corner into the shoulder in, and the horse just coming off the line a little bit. And I'm not sure if this rider does have a weaker side, but choosing to carry the whip on that left side which indicates either that that's the rider's weaker side or that it's the horse's. The horse might slightly be a bit stiffer that way and need that bit of support from the whip to just encourage them to pick that left side up a little bit, and finding it much easier to get into this right shoulder in, but just using a little bit too much of the bend, not so much getting the angle. And just saw that unfortunate trip going into that walk. Keeping the stepping, nearly stepped out with the inside hind, but very quickly caught it. And you just want to see a bit more suppleness and softness through this work so you get that consistency, but better through into this free walk. If the horse could just take that nose out and stretch forward a bit more, then yeah, good, better towards the end. And unfortunately had to then pick the horse up, but showed some nice steps on there. Slightly better positioning going into this, but just losing that towards the end. Just got a little bit large, and then just lost that bend around that left leg as he got towards the end of the pirouette and went towards the wall or towards the track. Just keep seeing little bits of tension that unfortunately affect the balance, affect the suppleness, and just keep bringing those scores down a bit, but cleanly through that canter, trot, canter. Yeah, nicely through that loop. Better balance through that loop, through that short side. And he tends to speed up a little bit going past A. I don't know if the crowds just buzz him a little bit and he just runs away a little bit, but better that time. We saw it on both reins, just going past that A. We just got the little bit where he just shot forwards slightly, or she just shot forward slightly, and you've got that slight holding and bracing, but better through this canter section. Just that one step through the corner where you got that little bit loss of balance. Quite a big moving mare, so it's very easy to lose that balance through these turns when she's a little bit too onward, but better down the centre line. And yeah, just squaring up in front, I think. So super job. Nice finish to that test for Poland. They looked quite pleased with that. Monica stood in the kiss and cry box there, watching ahead of her ride a bit later. She'll come forward in the second group after the break. And some real potential for some nice moments through that test, and it was just the odd loss of balance, that bit of tension. Just want to see that horse a bit softer, a bit more through and supple. so that you can really keep that consistency and show the horse off throughout that test. But another consistent test for Poland in this team competition. Might sit just outside that qualification individually for that spot in the freestyle final tomorrow. But another a good time in the arena for them as a combination. And that score just coming through for you shortly. There we go, 63.541, so just goes into 4th place at the moment in this class. Fairly consistent across the judges there. And that's that team result for Poland, so 128.5, and Monica's still to come in that as that 3rd rider, so currently showing up as 13th on that team ranking, but some riders having completed and they've only got those 2 scores to compare that with, so not a direct comparison. We'll have to wait for that 3rd score to see where that puts them once they have a complete set of team scores. And those riders just making their way over to the arena for this next rider to come forward. The British team watching on there. They've done everything they can. They just have to sit back and watch the other nations coming forward. And next into the arena, representing France. France already got 2 scores over 70 and 1 over 72. So putting some good scores forward for this team competition. Already with that individual silver medal for Chiara in that grade 3 class at the start of the week on Tuesday. So having a good competition so far and really building up this squad for Paris next year. But entering the arena now for France, Vladimir Vinchon riding the 10-year-old gelding Pégase Mayenne. And they finished 5th in the individual at 72.305. So looking for that good score for the team, but also their own individual score to qualify through for that freestyle final tomorrow. And having a very nice start. And look at the expression in that trot. A very powerful horse. Just that slight disruption. Yeah, really caught that balance very quickly in that shoulder in. This horse is very impressive. France already having a team spot as the host nation next year, but they would love to put forward a strong team result ahead of that Paralympics, just bearing down a little bit in front through that rein back, but super into the hole, and this trot work showing real quality. Lovely steps in that trot extension. Real power A lot of movement to keep together and to keep in balance, but doing a very nice job. And just a little slow going into that shoulder in on that more difficult side, so not able to support the horse on that right side like he could on the left. Yeah, nice pat for the horse. But doing a really good job. That right side where he hasn't got that support from the leg, it can be really difficult for riders to give that equal feel to the horse and keep that straightness, but doing a really super job. And again, this more difficult side on that pirouette, but really expertly through that, kept the positioning, stopped the horse from stepping out, really kept the control of those quarters, and really showing good control of the horse's body to keep that straightness even through that more difficult side. And you can see that saddle just offering that little bit of support for that thigh so that he can sit in the saddle and feel a bit more secure in the saddle. But showing some really nice positioning through this work. Beautiful through there into the trot. Just wanting to keep that little bit of self-carriage. At times just gets a little bit on the hand, but really high quality work coming out through this test. Riding very boldly, really going for it today. And if not now, then when? Just saw that tiny bit of resistance coming back into the collected canter, but again, like riding that collection, that's when you would have that right leg back to say to the horse, stay in canter. And riders have to really develop a different way of communicating with the horse so that they can ride those transitions still to the best of their and the horse's ability, and doing that very well. Nicely down the centre line, and this has been a very good job for France. And a super final hole, and big smiles for this French rider. That was a fabulous test for France. A super ride. What a partnership. He looks thrilled. Big thumbs up. And a really nice job for them, and they will absolutely be going for it in the freestyle and challenging for that individual medal. Just missed out on one in the individual, 1.1% away from that bronze place. But that was some really top quality work. They're looking very strong ahead of next year. Really nice positioning into and out of that shoulder in. Big pats for the horse. Super job. And he looks delighted. That score just coming through on your screen, and it's a good one. 74.054, so goes into second place behind Demi for the Netherlands. But a super score for them as a combination. 3 to the freestyle. And there's your final score for France. So 217.190, going into fourth place, just behind Italy at the moment. But a very solid team score for them. All 4 riders over 70%, with 70% being a drop score. A great job by the French team, and he will absolutely be going for it in that freestyle, and an individual medal looks well within his reach if they can do another performance like that. Really super. The horse still just 10 years old, so even more to come from them, I'm sure. But 2 riders left in this first group. The second group after the break will have team riders for the Netherlands, Norway, Poland, Denmark, Belgium and Austria's final rider. So all to play for in that final group of riders to see where those team standings end up. But this penultimate rider in this first group of grade 4 representing Finland. This rider finished in 9th place in the individual on 64.778. And if I recall, did some super work, but just had a few mistakes to bring the marks down. So they will be hoping to build on that. In this individual competition. Not part of a team here, riding as an individual. So just coming forward now on this 8-year-old gelding, Gold Prince. Another young horse at this championship. So entering the arena, representing Finland, Laura Kangasniemi. And riding progressively into that halt, but really establishing, keeping that balance and getting a nice square halt to start. So just giving this young horse the time he needed to find his balance through there. A very scopy and powerful horse. And that entrance has paid off for her with a very nice start. Yeah, and you can just see the horse has so much power and ability, just getting a little bit on the forehand at times, and you just saw at the end of that trot extension, she just had to work a little bit harder with the half halt to try and bring him back. So again, just getting a bit on the forehand and losing that flow. Not quite square behind, but pretty good. Just a bit reluctant backwards in that rein back. And you can see the quality coming through in this trot, but just sitting behind the vertical a little bit too much, bearing down in front for those higher marks that would pick her percentage up even more. Such a pity, slight loss of rhythm in that one step, but very quickly caught. Just needs to shift that balance back a little bit. And still producing some nice work, some nice rhythm through this trot. And it's exciting when you see there's more to come from a horse. Just as he gets stronger and finds that balance a bit more, she'll be able to ride that power in a slightly easier way. Just not quite getting that 4-beat rhythm for the walk. Yeah, stretching down, but just want to see the horse take the nose out a bit more. Just losing that 4-beat walk rhythm through that section, which is going to be a little bit costly. That was a shame. Some nice positioning, just struggling a bit to get the shoulders round. So the horse showing some nice bending, but just that shoulder getting stuck, and then you just saw the horse stop in the middle and just lose that bit of activity, but very quickly caught, picked him up and into that nice trot and canter section. You can just see the rider just giving the rein, just encouraging that self-carriage, encouraging that relaxation. Yeah, cleanly through there. A little bit longer in trot, but set that trot back, really establish that balance back before asking back up into canter, giving the horse a bit more time just to make sure it was clean. And the horse was waiting for the aid. Just want to be careful on that loop, those quarters swinging to the left a bit, really wanting to be able to ride straight and keep control of those quarters. Boldly into this extension. Yeah, again, just wanting to see that slight shoulder force so you don't get those quarters in on that long side. Cleanly into the trot, nicely up into canter. And this horse really does have so much quality, just has so much power, that it sometimes gets a little bit on the front. But that's very much to do with strength and development, and still only 8. So plenty of time to build on that and encourage that weight back and the sitting on the hind legs, so that we see that self-carriage and uphill carriage for those much higher marks. But a very nice job from this rider here, and a very exciting combination. Just not stepping through that left hind, but big pats for this horse. Another nice test for this Finnish rider. This horse showing some really nice quality, really nice potential, super attitude. Look, you can really see when that balance, horse can stay in balance with that power, there's going to be some really impressive work. And he has such a super attitude, really coping with the environment. A lot of quality still to come, as well as seeing it here. And those scores should be coming through for you in the moment. Just one rider left to go in this first group of grade 4 riders. And that's just on screen, 65.595. So a nice improvement on her individual score. Goes into 4th place provisionally. but still 7 riders to come forward. We'll have one more before a short break, and then that second group of riders to follow. And the next rider for Sweden, and the final rider for their team. Sweden had 2 riders in that grade 5 class to go this morning. This rider finished just outside the medals for that individual competition a couple of days ago. Put forward a lovely score of 72.833. So just 0.6% behind that bronze place. So she will be hoping to qualify through to that final tomorrow for the freestyle and hoping to ride for a medal. But entering the arena for Sweden, Louise Etzner-Jakobsen, riding this 12-year-old gelding, Gold Strike BJ. And they've had some really good results over the years. And getting off to a great start. Keeping a really nice rhythm through this trot section, just hollowing a tiny bit through that extended trot. Just want to see a little bit more softness, a bit more through. But keeping nice flow and just losing that. The horse just coming a little bit off the track, just falling a bit to the inside, but only a tiny amount. Not all the judges will see from their angle. Very good immobility, but again, just the horse coming a little bit high in front and just a little bit of tension. So then the rein back, you just saw that bit of resistance to stop those really high marks. But really nicely through these turns. Again, just a little bit holding today. And you just saw that. The horse just holding through some of the work and just using that as a bit of an excuse to spook. Really getting busy around this arena, and a bit more of an atmosphere probably than a couple of days ago. Just losing a bit of control on that turn of the haunches, but showing some nice steps in this free walk. Just wanting the nose to come a little bit more out for that true stretch. But nicely through that free walk. Some good steps. Setting that horse up. Just touching that right shoulder to say turn around. Turn around those hindquarters. Don't stick on the wall. Cleanly up into that canter. Really bold here. Just needing to keep the horse a bit more through and a bit straighter. You could just see that little twist and a little twist in the neck where she was trying to soften him through to the right, and then it just energy just pops out through that left shoulder, cleanly through there and nicely up into the canter. Those canter trot canter transitions can be so tricky, but if you can establish them cleanly and show that trot off in between, they can score really highly. Nicely through this loop. Yeah, and just softening him through that short side where he's just getting a bit distracted by something in preparation for this extended canter. Just having to say, hey, come back to me. Getting a little bit onward there, but very subtle with that. And a little bit of resistance going into that trot. Just had to give the horse a bit of a check, but again, cleanly through the trot and up into that canter. Showing some really nice work through this canter section. Up into this turn. Just having to take a little bit of a check. Say, wait for me, don't get ahead of me. Just that last centre line, a tiny bit quick, but very good halt to finish. And another good test for them. She looks happy. Super horse. Just showed some moments of slight tension just to stop those really high marks. But again, such quality. Some really nice moments and doing a very good job of just constantly making those little adjusts. Just having that bit of conversation with the horse. Just saw there that little bit too much neck bend through that shoulder in, really looking at the positioning. But some real quality work through this test. A super horse and a really nice combination for this grade 4. And those scores just coming through for this final rider in this first group of grade 4. 72.567, so very close to her score from the individual. And that final score for the Swedish team. So she should be good to go through to that freestyle final. And it's a final score of 214.277 for Sweden. And they go into 5th provisionally at this moment in the team competition. But we still have one last group in this grade 4. And in that is the Netherlands, is Norway, is Denmark and Belgium. So this is the current standings for the grade 4. Demi Harkins posting that storming 79.730 to go into the lead. France also posting a very nice score. And this is the current team standing. Germany in the lead on that score. Britain just behind. But the Netherlands not counting their third score at the moment because they still have one rider to go, but already having overtaken that German team. So they will sit at the top of the podium. But we'll be back at 2:30 for this final group in the team competition. Welcome back to this final group of riders in this grade 4 and the end of this team competition in this Grand Prix B test. This last group of riders, Sanne Weerts will be the first rider in for the Netherlands. Norway, Poland, Denmark, Belgium and Austria all completing this final team score. And you can see her warming up there. And this team competition really has been outstanding quality. 13 teams have come forward for this team competition. And the Netherlands already out in front with this last rider still to go. Demi Harkins produced a plus 79 in this first group of grade 4 riders to secure the gold for the Netherlands. But this next rider to go will be keen to be one of those counting scores as well, and also looking to secure her place in the freestyle final tomorrow. So this first rider in this second group of grade 4, riding the 15-year-old gelding Diamanteur RS2 NOP, representing the Netherlands, Sanne Weerts. And Sanne, the reigning Paralympic and world champion. Just missing out on that individual title 2 days ago to retain her European title. To teammate Demi Harkins, she scored 75.916 to secure that silver medal in the individual. Their fourth rider to go in this team competition, Lotte, scoring 71.767. So if Sanne can score above that, they will extend their lead in this team competition. They're pretty much guaranteed that gold medal, just ahead of Germany, but Sanne will still want to deliver another good performance and set herself up for that second individual medal tomorrow. They scored over 230 to win the World Championships last year. And already over 227 with their 3 riders that have just gone. And this partnership so established, they've been together a number of years, but Sanne changing her riding style and training style a little bit at the start of this year. She's had to refine the aids and get increased harmony with their partnership. Nicely through this first section. Showing some good stretch. Could just take that rein a little bit more forwards, but some super steps through here. You can see her there just allowing with the hand to just encourage him out a little bit more. but really know each other inside out, and a little bit large going into that pirouette. Could have just been that bit more sitting, bit more collected, but kept the steps, kept the activity cleanly up into this canter section. And these riders for the Netherlands have just been so strong over the past few years, really consistent. The same team of horses as last year, cleanly through there. Cleanly through this cantaloupe. Looking a little bit more together than in the individual. Bold in this extended canter. Sanna really able to ride for those bigger marks. Yeah, and just giving him a pat. Following that transition, you can just see her just giving those little gives in the rein, just encouraging that self-carriage. Really nice, keeping the straightness through these loops. Maintaining that rhythm. Not a hint of anticipation as they go over, as they reach that centre line. And this has been a very strong test for the Netherlands again. And that final halt, a big cheer for Sanna. She loves a fist pump at the end of her test. This horse just keeps on giving. Big, big pats for this horse, Demi, as he's known at home. And another really strong score. And I would love to know what the world record is for this para dressage team competition, because they have got to be scoring higher than last year. And they've got 3 really super scores. 2 from this grade 4 competition. Frank going earlier today, and Lotta in that grade 3 yesterday. She will be, I think, that drop score, but still a very good score to have, and they were already in gold medal position before Sanna even had to ride. So what a nice place to be, securing her spot in that freestyle final tomorrow as well. But that score just coming through, 76.460. So she goes into second place behind teammate Demi Harkins in this grade 4 class. But what does that do to their team score? Increasing that lead even further ahead of Germany, who will now sit in silver place. There you have it, 232.637. Scores of over 79 and 2 over 76. Absolutely incredible. A phenomenal score, and straight to the top of that leaderboard. They were the favourites coming into this competition. But that really is an outstanding team score. A really incredible performance from all those riders. Absolutely outstanding quality from all the teams at this Europeans. So Germany moved down into silver, Britain moved into bronze, and Italy just dropping down into that 4th place by a very small margin. And you can hear the audience hyping up from that Grand Prix special as well, just happening in that dressage arena. So this para dressage arena going to get very buzzy later. But just 5 riders left to go. This next rider representing Norway, so their final rider for their team. And Norway having just 1 rider yesterday, 2 in this grade 4 and 1 in the grade 5 earlier. But riding this 15-year-old gelding, Lindgard Lucky, representing Norway, is Anita Henny Johnson. And she finished on 61.556 in that individual. So would be really delighted to be able to build on that score with the second opportunity in the arena. And just needing to keep this trot really consistent through this trot work to pick up those marks, and doing a good job of that so far. So not quite showing the scope and athleticism that we just saw from the Dutch horse, but if she can keep just that consistent rhythm through these movements and that balance up in the connection, she can just pick those scores up and stay on this score, which will be a nice improvement from her individual. So just want to be careful. Just getting a bit on the forehand through those medium trots. Just want to shift that weight a little bit more on the hind legs, just engage those hind legs a bit more for those high marks, but better through this right shoulder in positioning. Nicely through that, very neat. Through that pirouette. Just see her softening the horse before she goes into this free walk so that she can really show it off. Oh, that was unfortunate. So you can really show that off on that circle rather than waiting for that second half for it to come together and then having to collect the horse again. Good preparation, good positioning. Just keep that, just stepping across a little bit, but kept the activity. Really looking like a more polished test than in that individual, which is really good to see. Just want to keep control of that outside shoulder through this canter work. You just see those quarters coming in a little bit. Yeah, a little bit hesitant, but cleanly through that trot canter transition. And again, just having to take a bit of a check as this horse hit that center line. Just a little bit of anticipation, but really nicely controlled through there. Just hear that sneezing that you get from the horse. Just showing that little bit of anxiety and tension, but very nicely managed through this canter section. Again, just looking for that positioning a little bit straighter on this left rein than it was through the right. Yeah, a bit more confident through that transition as well. You really want to be able to show the trot off through that canter trot, canter transition for those bigger marks. But this is looking like a real improvement from that individual on Wednesday. Nicely balanced through that turn. Just this last centre line to go. Well caught, just falling a bit on the forehand, but very quickly picked up. And a super final halt. A very, very good ending to that test. A really nice job, and that will be a big improvement for her score. So she will be thrilled with that. 61.556 for that individual on Wednesday, and that was way above that. Big cheers going through from her support team. And a really good job. So nice as a rider when the horse gets better through this competition. And great with this format. That riders get two opportunities to go in and ride those two tests. For the team and to qualify through for the freestyle. And there are those final scores. So a total score of 208.252. So they go into 8th place provisionally as that final team scores come through. And we now have just 4 riders left to go to complete this team competition. Denmark and Belgium will come forward after this next rider, and they are those 2 teams who might be able to change that fight for bronze. They'll need to put forward some very strong scores. But we've seen a lot of personal bests and a lot of improvements from the individual. So it is all to play for. That gold medal, pretty secure and safe in the hands of the Netherlands. And that silver medal looking like it's going to stay with Germany. But next into the arena, representing Poland, is Monika Bartis, riding the 16-year-old gelding Kasper. And you can hear that applause from that arena next door, that dressage arena. I don't know whether that is going to help or hinder these horses, but Casper looking very happy to be in the arena. And she scored 70.861 for 7th place in the individuals, so we'll be really hoping for a spot in that final tomorrow, and is off to a very good start. Just softening that horse towards the end of the medium trot. Just saw a little bit of hollowing, but some nice steps through that trot and showing some nice trot work at the start of this test, nicely into that shoulder in. This horse staying in a good frame. Very consistent through that contact. Really adding in that lift and elevation to the trot. Lovely halt. Could just pick up those feet a little bit more in that rein back, but very good halt, very good immobility, nicely up into this trot. Just at times wanting to see a little bit more softness, but this is being very well managed by Monica, just needing to get a little bit softer before going into that extension, but maintaining that balance, showing some good steps. Really showing some nice work here. Yeah, getting that positioning a little bit better. Just don't want the horse drifting to the left. And you just saw the quarters being pushed out a little bit, so wanting to bring the shoulders in through that movement so the horse sits and engages on that hind leg, not pushing those quarters out. A real test of control of the horse's suppleness and control of those quarters. But some really super steps in this stretch. Monica just leaning forward and allowing that rein forward. The horse could relax a little bit more into that and take that contact forward, but some nice steps in that walk. Just keep that activity. It's one step wide with that right hind. Just not quite engaging enough, and that tiny bit of loss of activity through there, but managing not to stick. That would have been expensive. Really bold in this extended canter. And this combination one that's done a few championships together, and they just seem to be getting better and better as they get to know each other. And she's now really able to ride for those bigger marks. Oh, just a little unfortunate spook there, but again, quickly caught. Through this loop, keep the straightness. Not too much inside flexion through the loop. Really showing the control. Oh, just a bit too much there. You could just see she was trying to soften the horse to that inside just to try and get him to let go a little bit, and it all just got a little bit too much. That music from the Grand Prix Special, again, adding to this atmosphere for these last few riders. Really great having the para-dressage competition alongside the dressage and exposing this sport and discipline to a wider audience and to this bigger atmosphere is just a really good thing for the sport and the horses. Does bring with it a few challenges sometimes, but very well managed by Monica, and some really nice work amongst those few moments of tension. I think that was a bit of a sigh of relief. She'll be pleased to have completed that, I think. And she should have done enough just to keep herself in that top 8 group. There was a bit of a gap between 8th and 9th from that individual, and it looks like she should be sitting in a similar place to in the individual, which would secure her a spot in that top 8 for that freestyle final. And these next 2 riders coming forward, there'll be a lot of people watching from a team perspective. Denmark and Belgium, those 2 nations who could challenge for that bronze medal. But that score for Monica just coming through now, 69.973, so puts her into 5th place individually in this class. So the lowest she could finish is 8th, so that guarantees her a spot in that freestyle final, and that's a final result for Poland, 198.473, so puts them into 10th place in this team competition at the moment. Denmark, Belgium and Austria still with scores to complete their team score. And it's starting to get a little bit tense as this competition comes to a close, because Netherlands out in front, no one can really touch them for that gold medal. Germany again very strong in silver, but this bronze medal place, Great Britain currently in bronze, and Denmark's final rider to go. She needs 74.673 above this score to go ahead of Great Britain into that bronze medal place. She scored 71 in the individual on Wednesday, but we have seen a couple of riders. It would be a big ask, but we have seen a couple of riders do this and build on their score by quite a few percent. So Great Britain are going to be watching this very closely. And then we'll have Manon for Belgium also looking to challenge that, but riding this 14-year-old mare, Beyond Dreams, entering the arena now, representing Denmark, Renee Igelski. And Denmark had that really strong score in the grade 3 from Tobias yesterday, down to 3 riders, so all 3 scores counting after Nicole withdrew her horse following the individual. And she looks like she's going for it. They had a 70.5 in the grade 5 this morning from Lena Thorning-Jorgensen. And Renee out to a very strong start, so over 74.673 is what she needs. And this horse showing some really elastic trot work. Just sometimes wants to do a little bit more behind, very expressive in front. And a bit abrupt into that hole, but good immobility, slightly dragging in the rein back, promptly up into this trot work. Nicely into this trot circle. Just wanting to keep that balance back. Really testing these horses' concentration with everything else going on, but just saw her just a little bit softening through that short side in that corner just to get that focus back on her. This mare looking really willing. Oh, just that. That was unfortunate. Just took a large step, losing balance, and then just stepping across with the hind legs for that pirouette. Just not showing that control of the quarters. And looking for that really clear 4-beat rhythm where you just see that V shape, showing some nice stretch on that circle, but not always keeping the rhythm. That clear 4-beat rhythm through this walk. The horse is quite long in the body and long over the back, so it's not making it slightly more difficult to get that tracking up. And you saw that score just dropping down after that walk work, which is a shame for Denmark. And she'll also be hoping for a top 8 finish to qualify through for that freestyle final tomorrow, finishing 6th on that first day. It's well within her reach, and a little bit of a communication hiccup there through that transition, just losing that flow a little bit, and you just got that step up and higher rather than forward and under with the hind legs as she moved into the canter. Keeping a nice rhythm through here. Riding really boldly through these forward movements. Just cleanly into that trot, nicely up into that canter transition, much more fluid through there. Again, you just want to see a little bit more sitting with this horse. A little bit more sitting and engaging behind, just to match that expression in the front. But really elastic, really obedient, and a super consistent test from them again. So that should take them through to that freestyle final, which will take place tomorrow. Big pat for this lovely mare. A lot of expression, particularly in this trot work, where she's able to stay in a much more uphill balance. Really elastic moving, and managed to keep a super rhythm through that trot section to really pull those marks up. And a good final score for Denmark. So 70.541 puts her into 5th place in this class. So definitely through to that freestyle final tomorrow. That gives a 3rd score for Denmark to complete their team score, down to 3 riders following that individual competition. And there we have it, 218.501, so into 5th place for Team Denmark. And the British team will breathe a sigh of relief because that means they retain their bronze medal position at the moment, with just 1 rider left to go who could challenge that for Belgium. 2 riders left in this grade 4 competition. And 2 riders left in this team competition. So Austria, the last rider to go in this class. They've had 2 scores of over 70% already through from their riders yesterday. A score of 68 from their grade 5 rider, Valentina, earlier today. And if they can finish amongst the top of the non-qualified teams, they could secure that spot for a team in Paris, next year's Paralympics. But next into the arena, representing Belgium, their final rider to go. Their current lowest score is 70.632. So if Manon can improve on that, she will take their team total a little bit higher and move them up the rankings. But if she can score over 74.584, she will go ahead of Italy. And if she can score over 75.264, she will go take the Belgian team into the bronze medal position. So representing Belgium, Manon Claes riding the 8-year-old mare, Katharina Solenberg. And a very square halt to start. She finished in bronze medal position for the individual on a score of 73.444. So it would be a big ask, but is not impossible. And this horse, just 8 years old. She did the World Championships last year as her first championship, and is already looking stronger this year. So really exciting. Belgium already qualified for Paris. Just a little bit of a loss of balance into that shoulder end, but a really powerful, scopy mare. And just saw a little bit quite square going into that hop, a little bit on the forehand, so then you just got that little, those dragging steps in that rein back for those really big marks. But really fluently through this trot section. Just want to see the horse's balance come up a little bit in front, sometimes just getting a bit down in the front and leaning on the rein a little bit. You can see there in the mediums as well. And then those steps just go longer and a bit on the forehand rather than that uphill expression that she can do. But that's a little bit of strength still she needs to build up. nice positioning, keeping the activity through that pirouette, or just pushing out towards the end, just that last stride. And some nice stretch through here. Not the biggest over track for the free walk, but some really clear steps and good stretch in that head and neck. And again, just stepping out through that pirouette. And a little bit early, but cleanly up into that canter. I think the horse anticipating a bit, and Manon just going with that. You can just see those hind legs just really step under in the canter. She just needs to, really nicely balancing the horse there, just setting her back a little bit and giving that rein, just saying stay up in the frame, stay in your own carriage. When you have a horse with so much power, sometimes that engine can just push them on the forehand, but really managing that nicely through that trot canter transition. Keeping that rhythm through this loop. Really good concentration from this young mare. Again, boldly up into that extension. Just want to take the nose up and out a little bit more, just sometimes ducking behind that bridle. You can see Manon there just giving the rein a little bit, encouraging her up and out in that frame. A little bit of loss of balance coming into the trot, but really nice through that trot and obediently up into that canter. Again, just catching that left side as she comes through the corner, just to keep that balance in the right place, channeling that energy out through the front, not losing it out the side. A little bit onward into this trot, but cleanly down into that trot transition, just coming up for that final halt. It's been a good test and a very good halt to finish. Big pats for this horse, a big smile from Manon. And that was a super job with this young horse. Just getting stronger each year. And a real powerhouse. This will be very exciting to see next year, but also securing that place in the freestyle final. Already a bronze medal individually for her. And she will be looking towards that freestyle final tomorrow, hoping for a second individual medal. And this is the score for the final team rider for Belgium. 73.703. So that puts her into 4th place in this grade 4 class. So just sitting behind the French rider Vladimir, who scored so well earlier in this class. But that is also our final score for this Belgian team. And I don't think they've done enough to challenge the podium. And here we have it, 221.102. So that puts them into 5th place in this team competition, meaning that Britain retain that bronze medal spot. Belgium just finishing behind Italy and Great Britain in that 5th spot. So that medal table has not changed. The Netherlands in gold pretty much were untouchable coming into this last group of riders. Germany in silver and Great Britain, with those amazing performances from these new riders and new horse, sit in bronze. Absolutely phenomenal from all these teams. The standard has been so high. Incredible riding over the last few days. And we have the final rider in this grade 4 class, the final rider for Team Austria. And Austria would have a bit of work to do to challenge for that podium spot, but can they finish as one of the top non-qualified teams? And try and secure a spot for the team at the Paralympics, and can he secure a spot in that freestyle final? Riding this 18-year-old gelding, Bellagio 4, representing Austria, is Bernd Brugger. Just showing a little bit of anticipation in that first hold. He finished in 8th place in the individual, 68.556. There was a little bit of a gap from 8th to 9th. So if he can do something similar or higher, he should be able to slot into that top group of 8 and ride in that freestyle tomorrow. Some really nice trot steps through here. Just pushing the quarters out a little bit to get into that shoulder in, and you just see that little bit of tilting from the horse. And wanting to keep that straightness and that bend around the rider's leg, bend in the body. Just saw that little bit of tilting. Obediently back. Just keeping this nice rhythm through the trot. Doing a good job so far. A little bit straighter through the shoulder and just a little bit too much neck bend for that shoulder in positioning. Really want to see those 3 tracks. The horse's shoulders come in off the track and lift. But very good positioning through that walk pirouette. Super stretch. Just take that head and neck, that nose forward and out a little bit more. Just have a bit more pushing from behind. This horse has a very expressive front end. It's sometimes not always pushing enough from behind to match that. Yeah, almost lost the activity, but kept a good positioning and just kept that stepping. It's very neat size, that pirouette. And almost lost the activity because of it. Didn't manage to keep that. Could show a little bit more in that extension. Yeah, really nicely. Brought the horse back a little bit towards the end just to show that slight difference. Again, just could be generally a bit more through and a bit more engaged. You just saw that it was cleanly through the trot, but not as definite and showing the same expression that some of the higher scorers have been able to do. Just wanting to keep that straightness and the alignment of the horse through that loop, but really nicely. That's more like it. Bolder into this extension. You really saw that moment of transition as the horse took him forward. It's got that little bit of tilting sometimes on this left rein. Just where the rider sometimes has that asymmetry, the horse can have a slightly different feel from left to right, and you can see that right side a little bit weaker in that the rider's body and the hand and the lower leg, so the horse just not always getting the same feeling from left to right, and that can be really difficult to manage, and sometimes you do get that tilting. But really nicely through that loop onto the centre line. As he comes into this final halt, this final rider in this grade 4 class and this team competition, and a super final halt to finish. Very good immobility, very square. And a really good job by this Austrian rider. He was 8th in that individual, so if he can score in the same region, and I think he should do with that performance, if not a little bit higher, he should be cleared to go through to that final. There's a little bit of a gap between 8th and 9th place, so he had a bit of breathing space. He can build on the score of 68.079 of his teammate. This will increase Austria's final score. And those scores coming through now. So 68.216. So he goes into 9th place in this class. So we'll have to look at the combined scores to see if he goes through to that freestyle final. And it might be very close, but he should be okay based on the scores below him in the individual. But that will be the combined score. And it is a slightly higher score for Austria and their team competition. So 0.2% increase from the grade 5 rider. So their final score 210.958. So they finish in 9th place in this team competition. And a fantastic final class, really coming down to the last few riders for that team result. And here we have it, the final result for the teams. Netherlands in gold, Germany in silver, and Great Britain take the bronze medal with just 1 point in it between 3rd to 5th over those 3 scores. Italy in 4th, Belgium in 5th, Denmark in 6th, France with that very close 7th place, and Sweden and Austria with that 8th and 9th spot. And it looks like Sweden should take that direct qualifier through to the Paris Paralympic Games for their team. And this is the final score for this individual. Demi and Sana taking a 1-2, and France moving up to 3rd. So they do not win medals for this Grand Prix, but the top 8 combined with that individual competition will go through for a chance to ride for another medal tomorrow in that freestyle final. Absolutely incredible. We will be back at past after a short break for that medal ceremony. And welcome back for this team medal ceremony. The riders just coming forward there. Great Britain winning that sensational bronze medal with 2 riders making their championship debut. A brand new 7-year-old young horse and the most established combination of this team, Georgia, Wilson and Sakura, all pulling out personal bests with those horses to get that final bronze medal score, just ahead of Italy. Sophie driving that first buggy in with Georgia, Charlotte and Gabby just behind, followed by this winning team for the Netherlands. Absolutely sensational scores by them to finish on a total of 232.637. Chef to keep, Georgina Sharples there with Great Britain and Joy stood with Team Netherlands in that gold medal winning spot that they managed to do back in 2019, retaining their title from the Europeans and from that World Championships last year. Big support team out there for Britain. And in that silver medal spot is Germany in front of a home crowd back on that podium. They had a sensational start to the week with individual medals from all 4 riders, but onto this podium is that winning team for the Netherlands, with Germany and Great Britain taking silver and bronze. Chef to keep for Germany, Nico Hollmann. But here come those sensational horses. One chosen horse from each team, with their grooms, Beth and Liz leading in Charlotte's ride, Duke or FJ Veyron.
For Great Britain, congratulations to Gina Wilson, Gabby Black, Charlotte Chandler, Sophie Wells, and the chef Georgina Sharples.
And that bronze medal being awarded to this really new team. Didn't know what to expect when they came here, but they've all delivered really beyond their expectations. Charlotte and Gabby receiving their first medals here. Championship debut, what a debut. Gabby winning that individual bronze on the first day, topping it off with that second bronze medal. Enjoying that moment with their support team. And those really strong performances from all 4 German riders. 73.933 was their drop score. 77.567 was that highest score from Heide Marie, but scores again of 75 and 74 from the other 2 riders. Such consistency throughout the team, scooping up those individual medals for all 4 riders on that first day of individual competitions. And really strong performances in front of this home crowd. And this winning team for the Netherlands, really, truly outstanding scores across the board for them. They were the favourites coming in, but you have to deliver those performances, and Germany really set the bar high for them. They knew what they had to do coming into this second day. Frank and Demi topping those grade 5 and 4 classes. So strong in that grade 4, sitting in those top 2 spots. Demi and Sana really dominating that grade at the moment. Your new European champions for 2023, retaining that title from 2019 and following on from that really strong performance last year at the World Championships. The same 4 riders, same 4 horses. So much strength. This team competition really coming down to those last few riders in grade 4. Such a strong level of riding and a high level of horsepower really coming through at these championships. Seeing some massive scores, but Netherlands taking that gold medal, Germany in silver, and Great Britain take that bronze medal. All 3 teams just showing such consistency across all 4 riders. And those horses who make all of this possible with their grooms, who support all of us riders, and we could not do it without them. They do such a fantastic job behind the scenes, keeping those horses feeling at their absolute best, to allow them to come and do their job in the arena. They leave the arena ready for those freestyle finals tomorrow. And those riders preparing for their lap of honour. We've got a very well positioned group of British supporters right in that shot. And there they go. Frank taking the wheel for that Dutch team. And that gold medal once more for the Netherlands. Really, really strong these past few years. And off they go, George Sharples, chef to keep, hanging off the back of that golf buggy. And enjoy your moment. Gold for the Netherlands, silver for Germany, and bronze for Great Britain. There they go. And one more time for our gold medalists. And what an incredible team competition that was over the past 2 days for the Netherlands to take that title. Having to wait until today for the final 3 riders to go, but what a final day it was for them. And those riders will be going to prepare for the individual freestyle finals, which will take place tomorrow. All 5 grades competing tomorrow in that final. So we will be back with the grade 3s at 8:30 tomorrow morning. Have a good evening.